They handle the gore so teenagers can sparkle. Someone give these guys a raise. I'm Zen. Konnichiwa, aloha, buongiorno, and what's up? Hope you're doing good and hope you're excited for another fun-filled episode of the Spiraken Manga review. And with that in mind, let's actually get to it. I'm excited to talk about this. I'm revitalized from this weekend, so let's actually get to it because if you remember from the last episode, I spun that one that only the Wheel of Manga, and it dictated to be that I'd be reviewing a manga that does something a little bit different with a very common topic. And what are we talking about? We are talking about Magical Midlifer. This is a story by Maki with art by Nomui Haiba, and this is a pretty different story. This is the story of a world where there's magical girls who fight the evil villains known as witches. This is sounding very familiar to something like Magica Madoka, but don't worry about it. It's very different. And they end up defeating the big witches, and they're all sponsored by these great industries and companies. They're streamers, they're celebrities. If you're a magical girl, you're pretty much set for life, but you have to fight monsters every single day. There's only one tiny problem. The witches are kind of a big deal, but what's worse are their familiars. Their familiars are these super feral, crazy creatures that when they get no attention and their mistress is dead, they get stronger and more evil and vicious, and their sole goal is to kill these magical girls. So, what do companies do? Well, they hire these individuals to be not just drivers and managers for the magical girls, but they're also bodyguards. And these are the magical midlifers. And our main character in this series is a guy who is simply known as, well, Tanaka. And Tanaka is dealing with the fact that he is a magical midlifer. And what does that mean? Well, when a monster goes to kill a magical girl, he's going to knock that monster across the city with his powers. And then when he introduces himself, is politely says, "Listen, my name's Tanaka. Sorry I have to do this. I got to give you my card. And then after this, I'm going to kill you." And he destroys them with his magical wand using magical powers, cutting monsters into tiny bits, shredding them, freezing them, making them blow up, and he just goes back to work because he has to do overtime. Meanwhile, the magical girls are none the wiser. That is the case until, well, eventually we discover that there's more going on. But this is the series. The series is about an old man who's in his 40s, he's my age, who is essentially a magical midlifer. Not having a midlife crisis, but his job is he works as a gopher, a chauffeur, a attendant to magical girls, and he makes sure that these familiars don't kill their magical girls. And that's his job, but that's not his only job because also, if it gets bad enough, if it truly gets dark enough, slight spoiler for this, I'm not going to go too far, but if he needs to, what'll happen is he could take his magical form, which he hasn't taken in a long time. And what's his magical form? Well, he's a boy in a skirt with a super wand and he's younger. He's back to his young age. And when he transforms, like, I'm young again. My shoulders don't hurt. I can kick butt. But then he turns back to old man. And he's handsome and cute as magical boy. But that's his powers and that's his job. And that's what this series is about. There's more going on, but you don't really need to know much about it because this is the joke. This is the story. It is the magical girl world with some differences. Think Magilla Lumeri, a little bit of Madoka Magica, a little bit of Where is Mr. Villain? That's what this is. This is the more the bureaucratic side of it. And while there's some really cute moments with the magical girls, because they're all cute and there's friendship, meanwhile, he's in the background killing these monsters that do horrific things in horrifying ways. It's this very odd juxtaposition between super cute art and super violent art. It's kind of a weird blend, which isn't bad. And also, our protagonist is not very pretty. Tanaka, he is an old man. He's an old G-san who's fat, chubby, balding, you know, short. And then, like I said, when he's pretty boy, long hair, glasses, looks handsome, and wearing women's clothes. So yeah, that's what this series is about. Can I say anything else about this? Well, there's more going on, but I'm not going to spoil it because that's what this is. This is a magical girl series involving a middle-aged man who is the bodyguard of the magical girls. That's it. Now, is it bad? No, the art's really cool. The concept is great, but it's not super great. It's okay. There's some really cool elements in it. The concept is great. I like that he's super powerful, and eventually, when one of the magical girls does figure out that he's the person who's protecting the magical girl, she's like, "I want you to help me out, train me," and he's like, "I can't train you. It's just a job." And it's very not depressed, but he's very. This is life. This is how things go, and that's how the life is. And it's kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie. And honestly, I could go further into this, but let's be honest, it is an okay series with a unique concept that's not too bad. So let's actually get to it. So, what do I got to rate this? Well, it is a gift from a crazy Aunt Muriel. It's okay, but in the end, forgettable. It's got the clever subversion of the magical girl subgenre with the that there's the backup creatures and backup characters that help out the magical girl, the support system, and there's a lot of comedic contrast with this, where you have these great moments which are really funny, and then you have this very big cinematic moment. And there's a lot of depth going on because you get into what's it like being a guy in this world? What do magical girls go with when they're too stressed out? Also, because of you have this whole you're a superstar. If no one likes you, it makes you feel depressed. And again, the magical midlifers are there to cheer them on. Now, the bad thing is, this is very fractured. The world building, they just throw you in there. They say, here's what's going on, have fun. And sometimes this works really well in a lot of series. This time, it feels really disjointed. There's so many questions you have. Also, while there is some great contrast that's really strong, it also gives you a bit of tone whiplash. What I mean is, sometimes you'll be laughing and then it gets really violent really fast. It's a little off putting. And this is, like I said, it's very derivative. It is very similar to something like Magic Lumiere, where it's the business aspect of it, or Tiger and Bunny, where it's let's get promos, let's get people interested. And there's a whole corporate element, which feels a little like Solo Leveling. So that's what it is. Now, the tropes in the series, it's obviously deconstructed magical girl. You have a main character who is secret identity. And then, of course, the overlooked veteran who people think are just the mentor, but in reality, they're the star of the show. He's the one that's going to do all the stuff that's awesome. So if you've read this series, let me know what you think. Email me, zansparker.com, comment down below. Let me know if you want to read Magical Midlifer or if you think this is just a boring thing that you're never going to read again. Is this just for grizzled geezers? I don't know. The fact that he is 40 years old and he is drawn like an old man and he treats like an old man, it's weird because I don't feel like this. This is like an odd, like the 70s style of you're 40, you're old, you're gonna die. That's not the case. You don't get there yet. So yeah, this is a little bit of an odd situation. But again, I digress. Is there anything else I can say about this? Not really. So anyway, before we get into the manga release for the week, I gotta say I had a blast at Ichibancon this weekend, and everyone who went to my two panels or checked out my booth at the Otaku Flea Market, thank you for checking it out. You're all awesome. I hope you're great. I hope you had fun. If you have questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to be releasing a couple of panels online. Stay tuned for that. But with that in mind, let's actually get to the manga releases for the week. And let's get to it, shall we? So, starting off from the top, we've got the Oshi no Ko First Report official guidebook for the anime series. Then we've got You Can't Bluff, The Sharp-Eyed Sister, Volume 3. Yes, No, or Maybe, manga number 3. World's Finest Assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat, Volume 8. This is the manga. Witch Watch, Volume 17. This is a digital release. Winter Wolf, Volume 2. Wild Strawberry, Volume 6. This is also a digital release. We Can't Do Just Plain Love, Volume 4. The War of the Greedy Witches, Volume 32. Wait, I Love You, Volume 1. Virgin Knight, I Became the Frontier Lord in a World Ruled by Women, Volume 3. This is the manga. Veil, Volumes 3 and 4. Oobleblot, Deluxe Edition 4. This just came out. We don't have a design yet, but it's released. Help, Stand By Me, Volume 1. This is a one-shot. Spring Storm and Monster, Volume 5. Splatoon, Volume 15 and 16. Slasher Maidens, Volume 13. Shy, Volume 12. The Shunji Family Children, Volume 5. Senpai is no Tokonoko, My Cross-Dressing Classmate, Volume 5. A Prince of a Friend, Volume 1. Rent a Girlfriend, Volume 35, the light novel. Once Upon a Witch's Death, Volume 1. Now That We Draw, Volume 4. Nomic Shiba, Volume 3. Nina, the Starry Bride, Volume 14. Mysterious Disappearances, Volume 8. My Quiet Blacksmith Life in Another World, Volume 1, this is the manga. My Girlfriend's Not Here Today, Volume 6. My Favorite VTuber is Scary IRL, Volume 1. Mishoko Tensei Reducted Reincarnation, Light Novel 3. Murcielago, Volume 26. Mistakenly Saving the Villain, Volume 2. Mechanical Marie, Volume 2. The Magical Revolution Reincarnated Princess Genius Young Lady, Volume 7. Mad Miniscape, Volume 1. Laid Back Camp, Volume 17. Konosuba God's Blessing on This Wonderful World, Light Novel 20. Kitayama and Minmiyama, Volume 1. Karate Survivor to Another World, Volume 9. Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls on the Side, Volume 27. Sword Oratorio. Insomniacs After School, Volume 13. In Another World, My Sister Stole My Name, Volume 4. Imitation, Volume 8. The Idol's Escape. Ichi the Killer, Volume 3. I'm a Behemoth, an S-ranked monster who's mistaken for a cat. I live with an elf girl as a pet, Volume 12. I Want to Love You Till Your Dying Days, Volume 7. I Like Villains, so I Reincarnated as One, Light Novel 1. How Do I Turn My Best Friend Into My Girlfriend, Volume 5. Hitting Rewind With You, Volume 1. His Sensual Whisper, The Voice That Sets Me on Fire, Volume 2. Galaxius, Volume 1. Futari Switch, Volume 2. Fish God, Volume 1. The Ethereal Senses of Setsuna's Journey, Volume 2. This is the final volume of the series. Dungeons That Surely Slaughter Adventurers, Volume 1. Detectives These Days Are Crazy, Volume 3. Daybreak, Volume 2. Daughter of the Emperor, Volume 13. I believe this is the volume of the series. The Dangers in My Heart, Volume 12. DN Angel, New Edition, Volume 2. Cupid is Struck by Lightning, Volume 2. Cosmos, Volume 2. Volume 4. Cheeky Brat, Volume 16. Bungo Stray Dogs Official Comic Anthology, Volume 5. Brunhild, the Dragon Slayer, Volume 4. This is the final volume of the series. Blue Lock Omnibus, Volumes 1 through 3. Astro Baby, Volume 4. This is a digital release. April Showers Bring May Flowers, Volume 4. And then last but certainly not least, we've got Allmark, Volume 2. So these are the manga releases for the week. We've got some good ones. We've got some bad ones. We've got some fun ones. And I have a lot of honorable mentions that weren't released this week for my favorites. Dungeon Shirley Slaughter Heroes. That one looks a lot of fun. And of course, can't go with I Love Villains, so I Want to Reincarnate as one. But my top 5 manga for this week are going to be the Blue Lock Omnibus 1. This looks really cool. You're going to get some extra artwork in that as well. Galaxius. This art looks insane. It is my highlight for the week. This is my number 1 for the week. I think it looks awesome. Then we have Hitting Rewind With You, Volume 1. Mad Miniscape, Volume 1. This looks trippy. And then last but not least, we have Once Upon a Witch's Death. So which of these titles are you most excited about? Let me know. Email me, zanspiraken.com, or tweet me at Spiraken. Let me know your thoughts. And with that in mind, before we go any further, I'd like to thank each and every one of you who are checking out this podcast or show. Every email you get, every new comment, every new subscriber, it gives me more motivation to keep doing this. I love doing this, so thank you so much. Definitely keep checking this out. I want to keep this so an old man who reads manga with thick glasses and large print manga. So keep coming around, keep telling your friends about this, keep checking out the whole show. Thank you so much. And remember, if you're watching, remember to like, share, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to click that subscribe button, click on that bell for notification for when the new episodes, and just tell your friends about this. It's really worth it. So with that in mind, let's actually get to the part that you've all been waiting for, the most popular part of this podcast. And what are we talking about? We're talking about that one, that only, the Wheel of Manga! Yes, friends, the Wheel of Manga, except no substitute. Now, what is the Wheel of Manga? The Wheel of Manga is a Wheel of Fortune with 10 slots on it. And what I've done is I've assigned a manga title to each of 10 slots. What we're going to do is we're going to spin the wheel. Whatever number it lands on, that's the manga I'm going to review in the next episode of the Spiraken Manga Review, episode 619. We've got a lot of good series on here, a couple of redos, and well, let's spin so we're going to review the next episode, shall we? Number 8. So, in the next episode, I'm going to be reading I Want to Escape Princess Lessons. A couple of months ago, I tried watching the anime with Greta. She hated this series because she said it's really cringy. I'll check it out and see what it is. But we'll find out in the next episode. Anyway, as usual, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm your host, Zan. I am Gonzville. I'll catch you guys next time. And as always, keep reading manga. I will see you later.